going on, everybody? My name is Caleb,
My name is Trevor.
and welcome back to Coffee and Headphones, the podcast where brothers talk about brother
Brother
things.
Diggs.
Hey, how you doing today, Trevor?
I'm good, bro. How's your day?
It's been good, man. I just had some dinner, some buttered chicken, but not real butter. Real chicken, not real butter. How's your day going?
Good, man. I had physical therapy this morning and now I'm home and maybe watching some basketball later and basic things.
Basic things. Awesome. Well, today we are going to talk about J. Cole, a rapper that has had a big impact on our lives, and we're going to discuss his best songs ever. Just kidding. You got clickbaited. We are going to be talking about our favorite songs from each J. Cole album, and how we're going to do this is we're just going to go chronologically with only his solo projects that are on DSPs, that being Apple Music, Spotify, etc. We're also going to give you an honorable mention from each one, so hopefully you don't get too mad. But before we do that, if y'all don't mind taking a quick second to hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're consuming this, it'll help a lot. It'll let other people see the content that we are working on and trying to push out to y'all. Also, let us know if you want us to do this with another artist soon, and if so, which artist. Trevor, would you like to get us started?
Yeah, I'll start. What do you want to start with?
Cold World,
From the bottom to the top, huh?
from the bottom to the top.
All right, for sure. Um, Co-World was maybe a little easier to me than some of the other ones, to be honest with you. But the song I picked as my favorite is Dollar in a Dream 3. I like all of the Dollar in a Dream songs. I thought this was probably the best one. And to me, I really like for all these, I went off of like what hits my soul. And I didn't want to go like too deep on some of them because some of them make me tear up a little bit. But this was a great song. It was a little before I got out on my own, but it's just about a guy who's broke and trying to follow his dreams, and you can always respect that. So,
Yeah.
I also love the I love the beat on it. I love the way it flows, and for me, it's my favorite. Not necessarily like a turn up song by any means, but it's my favorite on the album for sure. Oh, my honorable mention is probably Mr. Nice Watch. I
Wow.
like that.
I didn't
I
see
know,
that coming.
I know. But um, I love how it hits, and I just think it's a fun song. So
Nice.
it's probably my second favorite. Obviously, you got some of the bigger J. Cole songs on there, and you got some features from artists that I really like. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I completely forgot Missy Elliott was on this album. Whenever
Hmm.
because I went back and re-listened last night because it's been forever, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Yo,
yeah.
what?" That's crazy to me. For me, it was a little bit more difficult actually, just because this is an album that I haven't listened to a lot, and definitely not in a long time. It's not necessarily the reasons that I like J. Cole now didn't seem to be that deeply rooted when he was at this stage in his career. But for me, my honorable mention, I would say, is Lost Ones. It's very emotional, a journey song, about whatever it's about. We don't have to talk about it. But that one was honorable mention for me. And then I ended up going with the song Sideline Story. I felt like that was a really great vintage J. Cole song, reminiscent and just talking about, being a struggling artist and his come up and all that. And that's something
Yeah.
that I think is dope being in the position I'm in now. Also, I wanted to say, just because we're talking about these songs and these albums doesn't necessarily mean we agree with all the themes on them. But for the sake of this podcast, we're just gonna go ahead and talk about them objectively.
Yeah, 100%. I think overarching theme of J. Cole is positive. And obviously we're talking about like some of his first albums, so maybe it wasn't as he wasn't as grown. You know, he wanted what all young people want.
Yeah, a
So
bit immature maybe, but
yeah,
that's
but I
that's the cool
mean,
part about going
we're
through this
talking
story.
musical talent,
Mhm.
and that's all I give a crap about.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, moving on to the next album, which is Born Sinner. I went with, don't overthink it approach. My honorable mention is Letting Us Down. I really like that song. Of course, it meant a lot to Cole and the fan base at the time. Something that kind of like stamps that moment in history. But for my favorite song off the project, I had to go with She Knows. I think the sample is crazy. Cole produced it himself, sampled it himself. And I didn't want to overthink it, so it may be a basic pick, but it's definitely my pick.
No, I love it. Not in my picks at all. There's also one of my favorite, like, I don't know why I love this song. I just do. I can't even say the name of it. So therefore I did not pick it.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good decision.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Think smarter, you know. My honorable mention is also Let Nas Down. I think it's a
Nice.
wonderful song. And again, it meant a lot to J. Cole. And obviously you hear the passion behind every Cole song, but that one was a little bit different. But my number one is actually going to be Chaining Day. I
Oh,
think Chaining
really?
Day.
That's another curveball.
I think it's a really good song. I think it has a really good message. Even like the first few lines, and it's like you mix pain, greed, and fame. This is heinous result, and then because it's just like the natural progression from Cold World to him actually getting to what he's been striving for
Hmm.
and not fulfilling that void, which so many people always talk about, but rarely in their music.
Hmm.
And I think it has some crazy bars. I think the lyrics are good. It just had to be my number one on the album for sure.
Fair enough. Do you want
For
to
sure.
take
What
take the next one?
what's number three? Is it 2014? This was very hard for me. This was so hard for me. Um, my honorable mention is probably gonna be Fire Squad. It's a wonderful song, wonderful lyrics. And again, I just mostly based off of lyrics, but there's one song that I've probably listened to upwards of 2,000 times in my lifetime from that album. And it's '03 Adolescence. It is one of my favorite J. Cole songs, period. I also want to say like January 28th was up there too. I was originally gonna have my wedding day on that day, so But '03 Adolescence, the lyrics, the way it hits, the way it progresses, him talking about his friend and how looking up to each other, it's just crazy. I love that song. It's me
Yeah,
right
both
in the
both
feels.
both great picks. Both definitely top whatever songs for me off of that album. I kind of had a feeling that you would go with those two, so I kind of steered clear. But it worked out because these two are probably my favorite. It's very hard to pick favorites off of this album because it's so good from beginning to end. But my honorable mention is apparently definitely one of the best J. Cole
I knew
songs
it.
ever. Yeah, I mean, it's so good. The message is good. And uh, his singing vocals, that was one of the first songs that he really kind of tested his range. And that's something that you see him do a lot more often the older he gets. And then my actual pick was Hello, same thing. Hello for me just hit a moment that I heard it. It resonated with me so much, and I think it's one of his most beautiful songs. Just the concept of you can't look back in life, you can't have regrets about your past because it'll just hold you down, and I think that that's so beautiful. So the whole 2014 Forest Hill Drive. If you haven't heard of this underrated artist and this underrated album, you should go check it out. It went triple platinum with no features.
Yeah, if you have not listened to this album, I don't know why you're watching us.
Yeah,
So
I guarantee you, bro. Maybe mom, but other than that,
yeah.
everyone's heard this album. Who's watching this?
Oh,
If you're
bro.
watching, mom, we love you. Don't listen to this.
I know. All right. Go ahead, bro.
Okay, next album is For Your Eyez Only. Um, and this album is one that I literally just listened to this like an hour ago. I come back to it every few months, about every 6 months maybe, and it's in the rotation for a while. It's a timeless classic album. My honorable mention is Change. Definitely a song that I slept on whenever the album first came out, but as I continue to mature and get older, it really hit me and resonates with me. And then again, I didn't want to overthink it. My actual pick as my favorite song from this album is the title track For Your Eyez Only. Is there a better storytelling song in hip hop ever? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's big coming from Caleb. I don't know if y'all know that.
Yeah.
Because
I
there
love
is
the
one
storytelling.
there's one storyteller that is the best, and Cole is a close second. But for Caleb to say that that's the best story song, and I definitely have to agree. That's why it's my honorable mention. Um, it is a song that to this day can make me tear up depending on how I'm feeling. I got to be
Mm-hmm.
really careful with J. Cole and just take it in strides because it's not something
Yeah.
you can listen to
Yeah,
all the
that's what I
time.
mean when I said like I keep it in rotation for a little bit to move on.
Yeah,
Not that it's not quality to stay there, but just the sentiment, bro. It can tear you down if you're trying to avoid being in that place.
yeah. And so I lightened it up a little bit, but what I like about it is like he has some bangers that are still really meaningful and deep. So my song on this is Immortal. It's immortal. It has to be.
Yeah,
It has some wonderful lyrics. I think it hits really well. I think it tells a good story. And again, it's talking about his conflict with money and happiness
and
and
legacy.
where those two collide and who he is as a person. And yeah,
Yeah,
definitely my
yeah.
my number one.
Great
Also,
album.
Neighbors. It's just a
Yeah,
wonderful freaking album.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Told through the perspective of one of J. Cole's like
yes,
best friends. That's what
yes,
I'll say.
and For Your Eyes Only, I could have definitely put as number one, but it's just a little too much in my feels. I've listened to it a ton, but
Mhm.
I've listened to a lot of the other songs more because I have to take that one in stride for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
But
that's fair. That's definitely fair.
all
Okay.
right, KOD.
KOD.
And listen, this album gets a bad rap because it wasn't his best, but you listen to it, it's better than most any artist put out still. That's the thing. The bar was just super high because of who it was.
Mm-hmm.
Honorable mentions 1985. So I think that speaks for itself. It was a diss track without being a diss track.
Yeah.
It came from a really good place. And I just like the way that he handled the situation. Very mature and very like Cole esque, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Number one is Window Pane though, the outro. I freaking love that song and the sample of the little girl. Oh man. And he said, "How could I forget you?" Um, it's just a powerful song. It's a
Yeah,
powerful.
it
It gives
is.
me
It is.
chills.
It
So
is. Yeah, man. Uh 1985 would have been my honorable mention if Corday didn't do a better job on that beat than Cole did in his response. But my honorable mention is Friends. It was my first favorite when I heard the album. Great message. It's his anti-drug anthem. And my pick is also Window Pane. It was so good. But really that whole back half of the album is filled with a lot of like heavy content matter. And I think that kind of accumulates to this song that's very deep but still has like a positive message throughout it.
yeah,
Which
yeah,
is very J. Cole. And it's definitely a highlight for this album. Like you said, this album, man, it didn't live up to the last two before it, which was why a lot of people hate it. And there's a couple songs on it that I'm not crazy about, but for the most part, it is genuinely a good project.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't listen to it a lot, and I went back and listened to it for this, and I was like, damn, like it's actually really good, you know? So,
Yeah, for
um,
sure.
definitely something that I I'll probably listen to a little bit more after listening this time. Uh,
Yeah.
Holds up.
Okay. Our last J. Cole project, because we're only doing solo projects that are on DSPs, is The Off Season. And The Off Season for me is another grower. When I first listened to it, I liked it, but I didn't love it. Now I really like it. This is one that I'll throw on when I work out a lot. And my honorable mention from this song is, I mean, from this album, mixtape, whatever it is The Climb Back, which was, of course, a single dropped before the project, but it's hard. You know, everything comes back around full circle. And
Hmm.
my favorite song off of the album is Hunger on Hillside. This is one that is very motivational to me, helped me get out of a funk that I was in last year. So it means a lot to me personally. And I think it's applicable to a lot of situations for whoever's going through something in life. I think that that's a very positive message to just maintain. And that's one reason why we love J. Cole.
Yeah. So I agree, but they're flipped.
Oh, reverse
So
card.
yeah, Hunger on Hillside is my honorable mention. I think it's a
Nice.
wonderful song. And then
Yeah.
this is one of those where I just kept it simple. I like 95 South too a lot, but the Climb Back is going to be my number one on here. It
Yeah.
was a single. It was like we had so much anticipation of when these were going to drop, this
Yeah.
in the
When the
fall off
fall off.
specifically.
Yeah.
um and then we got this and the Lion King on Ice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got these two, and the Climb Back I listened to on repeat for so long.
Yeah. He was
And it
spitting.
yeah, and this PC culture addressed me as the goat. um it is, I think it's one of,
Self-explanatory.
yeah, it's one of the better, like it hits. It's not his most lyrical song by any means, but I
No, but
think it
there's
hits really
yeah,
well.
there's so much just emotion and passion behind it, and a lot of like it's like Cole had that "stop playing with me" mentality whenever he dropped that double single, and it sounded like it was coming from a real place of frustration. This, of course, was the first thing he dropped after "Snow on the Bluff," which was a separate approach for that same kind of feeling. So I was, I think all J. Cole fans were like more than ready for that when it dropped, but at the same time, not ready for it. You know what I mean? But the fall off, man, can't come soon enough.
It has one of like the best rips in my opinion that Cole has. It's I just
One of the best. What?
one of the best, like it's like a three lines that Cole has in my opinion. Like as
Okay.
far as dissecting and how it hits. But
What are they?
um we laugh at you, staff strapped up on top the totem pole to blast at you. Bass masters look how they totem pole. Gotta know the ropes and the protocol. So I guess it's four lines, or they're gonna for sure blow your clothes half off like a promo code. When I heard that, I was like, oh my word. And I've heard
Mhm.
better lines than that, but it was like the timing, who said it, and how he
Yeah.
said it was.
Nah, bro. I remember when this song dropped. You were like sending me the lyrics as like, just texting me the lyrics before we had like lyric share on Apple Music. And you were like, look at these bars. And like out of context, it didn't seem like that lyrical for J. Cole. I was like, yeah, Cole has
Yeah,
this.
if you haven't heard this song
Yeah.
and you just heard me read it,
Yeah.
please don't take
It's
that at
not
face
like
value.
super technical or anything, but it's just the way that he says it. And I forget which artist says this. I think it may have been Mac Miller said that sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And I think Cole is a beautiful example of that.
I agree. Those are some good picks. We agreed on
On a
more
few,
than I
yeah.
thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, we appreciate y'all taking the time to sit with us throughout this episode. And like I said at the top, if there's another artist that you would like for us to do this for, please let us know, especially if it's Taylor Swift, because it just takes one person in the comments to convince Trevor to do it.
Pick Kendrick.
Or it could be Kendrick. All right, Trevor, anything that you want to say to the people before we go?
That's it,
Okay,
man.
that's it.
That's
Well,
it.
peace, love, and pixie dust.